This is Fred Beck from Fred Beck and I. Today I'm very lucky, joined by Peter Mcdonagh. So Peter, what do you got in your head there? What type of hat is that?
This is my Russian. This is where I keep all my thinking because I've got to keep the brains warm. You know what I mean? Because obviously I'm building big predictions. Big boxing knowledge, and so it's my lucky hat. So when I start training fighters, I will be wearing this hat in the corner, and represented by Nero Premium Vodka, which is it's a vegan vodka. Absolutely unbelievable. It's funny because it's all made in the UK, British Edward potatoes. It's even bottled in the UK, but it's a phenomenal vodka. But vodka and Russian stuff go together.
Yeah, I certainly do, especially in the UK now. It is starting to get pretty cold. So, what else have you been up to then, Peter? How have you been? You think it's been a couple of months since we last spoke?
Yeah, been very good. Struggling with my own head for a little while. 3 years away from boxing. But I sort of went and got a little bit of help. I had a few problems. But I've come out public about the problems and just struggled since I've retired from boxing. But now I'm in a lot better place. Looking to get back into it now and start bringing the new generations through. Getting these rough diamonds when they turn professional, whether they're at Olympic level or a national champion level, with a good foundation, and building on them, shining them diamonds up.
Yeah, it's good to see you're back in boxing. And you were saying to me earlier on the phone that you're kind of looking to train fighters. Is there a kind of a certain style or certain type of fighter you want to train and be looking to train?
You know what it is, Fred? I've got to get on with the fighter, and the fighter's got to get on with me because it's like a husband and wife situation. You're going to spend a lot of time around this fighter. You're going to know them inside out, and you need to know them inside out. And I think I've got little things what I'll do different to other people as well, because people don't realise how mental boxing is. It's all about the mind, and it's 90% the mind. When people talk about getting in great shape and all that sort of stuff, it don't matter what sort of shape you're in. If your mind's not in the right place, you're not going to do anything, and it's really, really important.
Yeah, certainly. As they always say, boxing is a very mental sport. If, say, you're training a fighter, would you be looking to manage them at the same time as well, or just be the trainer?
No, well, I ain't looked into that side of it yet. Take one step at a time. I was thinking of being an advisor at one point, but I think I need to be where I was most happiest, my happy place, which is the gym. Mate, my most happiest place was the ring, but, I've got to stand on the other side of the ring now. It's going to be a little bit different. But, I know I can give a lot of knowledge to these fighters, and, I ain't got a manager. Maybe if it comes along, I will start managing certain fighters, but I've made a pact to myself that I'm only going to train one, maximum two fighters, because I believe when a fighter turns professional, I think he should get 100% attention, i.e., like Anthony Joshua in his last fight when he fought Alexander Usyk. Believe me, I'd have been tucking him up in bed at night at 9 o'clock at night and giving him his hot chocolate and showing him videos of Alexander Usyk and telling him what we need to work on. But the problem is people juggle too much, in my opinion. You're messing around with a kid's life. I call them kids, but they're men, but they're kids to me because they're going to be younger than what I am. So you're messing around with, it's a dangerous sport, mate. People can die in the ring. People can get badly injured in the ring, So, I think it's all about giving that fighter 110%. I'm not going to be based anywhere. I'm looking at traveling all the time. So, whoever I train, they don't get stale. So we keep moving gyms, moving countries sometimes. I've already sat down and I spoke to my wife about it, and I've said, look, I want to get back to what I love, and I want to give it 100%. And she said, well, if you want to do that, you do that. And I used to be first champion for MTK. Spent 4 years in Marbella. I spent years in Belfast. I spent years in Bolton. I spent years in Canada. I spent years in America. So I've got experience all over the world. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I believe I can give that back to fighters. And it's not about I had 58 fights or I had a massive amateur pedigree. I don't think it's got to be that. And I will say this before I carry on. I believe that, you know, when they say, oh, you've got to have boxed to become a good coach, I don't think you have to have boxed, because I think if you've got the understanding of the sport, I know a lot of these coaches now, you know, cheerleaders, whatever you want to call them, I know a lot of them that say, oh, yeah, I had a couple of fights when I was an amateur, but I don't see it as you've got to have had a couple of fights. You know, I don't see it. It's a bonus. It's a bonus if you've got a CV, but, you know, there's some great trainers out there that have never put a pair of gloves on, you know, i.e. Customata, obviously, God rest his soul, he's dead, but, you know, people like that have never even put a pair of gloves on. And, you know, I just believe that I've seen boxing from all angles, all sides. I've been an opponent. I've been a prospect. I've been a champion. I've been a loser. I've been a winner. The only thing I can never tell no one is what's it like to go on the floor, because I've never been on the floor.
That's a very good thing. That's a very good thing to hold over them. That's quite interesting when we were saying there about boxing coaches not having fights. I know that Lomachenko's coach, kind of Pavlichenko, who's now kind of helping train Usyk, never had a fight apparently as well. So a lot of people right now talking about the anti-Yarde win over Lyndon Arthur. So we'll talk about that fight a bit later on in the interview. We'll start with the Haney fight versus Jojo Diaz. I know you just watched it back now. What do you think about that fight?
I thought in the first round, I thought David Haney's jab was great. He had a great jab in the first round. He found it looked like he found his distance with a jab, and then after a couple of rounds he lost that jab and he sort of got a little bit involved in a war. But with Diaz, Diaz never used his jab at all, and he weren't making Haney think. And another thing what Diaz was doing, he was coming forward with that like hands up style, but he weren't stepping forward. He was standing in one spot. When he did step forward with that hands eye guard, he had a lot of success. But when he was standing off Haney, Haney was just throwing what he wanted. So it was like a heavy bag. Do you understand what I'm saying? So for me, I think if Diaz would have pushed the pressure a little bit more, and he would have stuck to him with that high hands, I think that would have been a totally different fight. But Haney hit him with a more cleaner shots. There was times where Haney looked a little bit in trouble. You know, Haney gets hit a lot as well. For his style, there's no head movement, I don't think, at all. I don't think he uses his feet enough, and I don't know how many times I tried to allude to this about you've just named the fighter there, Lomachenko, right? Right? I'll just name you two fighters, Lomachenko and Usyk, right? Listen, foundation's phenomenal. You know, back to basics all the time. They're always back to basics. Canelo, back to basics. Mayweather, back to basics. They don't do nothing special. They do everything simple. You know, and this is the problem. We see them in camps. Well, people on the TV see them in camps. I've been in them camps. But people see them on TV and they go, oh, look what he's doing. You know, rat silly pads and all that. They don't do that when they're in camp. You know, they stick to the fundamentals. They work on the fundamentals. They work on the jab. There's a famous saying, the jab gets you around the world. The right hand only gets you around the block. You know, we'll move on now. We'll move on to Yarde Arthur, because we want to talk about the jab in this fight. The jab did get him around the world, Arthur, in the last fight with Yarde. But, I mean, I predicted the last fight. 7-1 outsider. But I said he won't get through that jab, Yarde. But the difference is he had a lot of mental problems at that point as well. He had family members he lost. You know, there was a lot going on at that point. And I knew with my prediction in the second fight that I knew that there's no way Yarde could come the same as he did in the first fight, because he had too many problems in the first fight. I could see by the build-up to the fight, the way Yarde was focused for that fight. And the game plan was spot on. You know, he never give him time. He never give him no time to settle with the jab. And when you don't give a boxer no time to settle with a jab, yeah, you take them out of their rhythm. And that's exactly what he done to Lyndon Arthur. And he never just stopped Lyndon Arthur. He broke his soul. He broke his heart. He hits him up the guts, mate. I'll tell you what. You know, and his balls nearly come out of his mouth. You know, great shot to the solar plexus. That's what ended the fight. But a couple of times, Yarde got Arthur got the jab going. But the problem was in that fight is every time he tried to get the jab going, he just jumped on him, Yarde. And then all of a sudden, we see the negativity coming from Lyndon Arthur. He started holding Yarde. He didn't want to be in there. Yarde was pulling him around, messing around. I think James Cook has been an absolute blessing to the stable. You know, I've known James 25 years. I've known James years. You know, a real old school coach. teacher, I want to call him, old school teacher. He's been there, seen it, done it himself. British Commonwealth European champion, was dodged in his career. And these people can bring different things to the camp. Tunde's done a good job. I'm not going to put Tunde down. Fair play to Tunde. He's brought Yarde back. But listen, let's forget about trainers. The fighters have got to do the fighting on the night. And again, commiserations to Lyndon Arthur and congratulations to Anthony Yarde.
Yes.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer person for what he's been through.
Yes, certainly. Lyndon Arthur's already been through a lot as well, just as well as Yarde. Obviously, the impact that James Cook has made in that fight. It's quite interesting to see that Tunde. I spoke to Tunde before. Tunde, I know he gets a lot of hate, but he is very nice. And do you find it kind of interesting how kind of fickle it can be sometimes? Where say Yarde loses, Tunde gets a load of slack. When Yarde wins, Tunde doesn't get much rating when he wins. Do you notice that at all?
I mean, what we've got to realise here is we're living in that world, and I find it a hard world to live in at certain points, and that was half to do with my mental health problems. That I'm straight up, and I say it isn't. Even when I was talking to my counsellor turned around and said to me, sometimes you can't tell the truth all the time. I said, what are you on about? The truth's the truth. But people don't like to hear the truth all the time because it's negative to some people. And I said, but how can it be negative because you're telling the truth? But I understand now what he's saying. And sometimes, you got to keep your mouth shut. And I'm a man of many words. I'm not shy of saying a few words. But, maybe sometimes you've got to do that. But listen, it don't matter what they say about Tunde because at least he's made amends of what happened in the first fight. Listen, he is very, very, how can I call it? He's extravagant about what he says sometimes, lions in the camp and all. But that's his way. That's what he does. And what people don't know about Tunde, Tunde was a good fighter. He was a very good fighter. He has got some unusual ways of training fighters, but everybody's different. Everybody's got different ways of doing things. But believe me, that was definitely a 100% improvement in the last fight. He showed where he's at, Yarde now. He showed where he's at, and he showed well against Kovalev. And like he said, and I like what Yarde said after. He said, I had 12 fights as an amateur. He said, I'm still learning. And he is still a novice. And he's a massive, massive talent. He's a massive, massive talent. But listen, I'm not one of them just goes along with bandwagons. I predicted Arthur in the first fight, 7-1. No one see it. In the second fight, everyone had Arthur again. He's going to do the same thing again. That's the problem. He tried the same thing again. They didn't try nothing different. Where they should have tried something different. Maybe they should have met him. They should have met Yarde. Instead of on the back foot, chin in the air, getting backed up against the ropes. Sometimes you've got to change things around. You know what I mean? And you've got to have more than an A plan. You've got to listen. I was talking to a young fighter last night, top prospect. He's had a couple as a pro now, and he goes, I learned this and I learned that. I said, look, let me tell you something. Although these kids ain't that great what you're fighting at the moment, it's not about you progressing in the ring. It's about you progressing in the gym. Because what you've got to do is you're building that foundation to get to the next level. And that's what you want to be doing. And this is what I'm saying about Lemonchenko, Usyk. Yeah. They've got a great foundation. Mate. I picked up on everything that night when Usyk fought Joshua. Even on his way to the ring, he had a big glass thing over his face. And people want to know what that was for, because we got COVID going on here and all that. It's nothing to do with that. It's in case anyone was throwing pint glasses at him or anything, because he wanted to stay in the mode. He wanted nothing, no stone unturned. And that's the thing what they do. That's the difference what they do in them sort of camps. The problem in the UK is a lot of these kids turn pro and they go with some so-called trainer, whatever you want to call these people, because they're sign written up and all that, and it looks like they're the part. But the thing is, they forget about their amateur pedigree they've had and the foundations they've had as an amateur. They've boxed all around the world, won medals all around the world, and all of a sudden they're training with this new trainer that's blowing whistles and all that, right? And then they're turning a rough diamond into a lump of S, you know what I'm on about, right? And rubbing it in glitter. You know what I mean? You got to build on what you've got in a fighter. You've got to build on what you've got, and you've got to build on what he's good at. And you can't, especially as a fighter, you can't train a fighter the way you used to fight. Every fight is different. So one fight might come my way that's exactly like how I used to fight, but you've got to be able to work on whatever a fighter's got. Do you understand what I'm saying? I will pick styles I like. I will pick people who I believe I'm not going to pick someone I don't think I can do anything with. I'm not. It's not fair to pick someone like that. But I want to pick people that I know I can do work with. I know I can. They understand me. I'll understand them, and they're honest with me. It's all about being honest with each other. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'll have a totally different way to training to nearly every other trainer. You know, I'll have a totally different way of training fighters, which will be interesting. And people might think things that I do will be crazy. You know, I'm sitting there now with a central heating on with a Russian hat on. So, you know, but we've got to be different, haven't we? Everyone's got to be different. Everyone's got to have their own way of the way they do things.
Yeah, you've certainly got to be unique. And you're right by what we were saying there about kind of a lumber coil glycerin. You don't want to be tearing them down. You'll be building them up with what you've already got. And do you have kind of plan in mind where you want to be coaching, like may start early 2022?
Straight away, early 2022. I've been in gyms already, looking around fighters. You know, we're looking at different fighters. Got a couple of big names in the horizon where I could be doing something with, but I ain't. You know, I'm not here to publicise it yet or anything like that. But I'm taking my time. If it takes me 6 months to get the right fighter, I'll wait 6 months. I'm not just going to take any fighter on, you know. And I want to know that I can give them the ability. And when you've just said about will you manage fighters, I'll tell you what I will do. I will be the one that turns around and says, well, I think we need to step him up. I think we need to put him in there with this sort of opponent. Because what we're finding is they're fighting 10 absolute bums.
Yeah, they're taking a big leap, aren't they? They're taking a big leap up from like...
Yeah. You got to... Listen, if you've got an ABA champion, right? Amateur champion, right? Yeah. The problem is, right? I'm not going to train someone without a foundation, because how can you train someone without a foundation? You can say, oh, yeah, you're great, what you've done. They've got to have a foundation that you can build on, because otherwise, if it's sinking sand underneath, they're going to drop. It's just like building a house. If it's soft ground underneath, they're not going anywhere. So there's got to be a sort of foundation there, and then you build on that foundation of what they've got. And I will say this, and I'm going to bring another different spin to the pro game as well, about trainers. You know, it's not about the trainer; it's about the fighter, mate. I've had my time in the lights and the cameras and all that sort of business. It's about the fighter. It's not about the trainer. It's not about doing these mad pads and look good as a trainer. Yeah, it's about doing things, simplifying things, and making things methodical. Yeah, because you're all right doing all these pads when kids are fighting geezers with no arms. But then when you start stepping up a level, yeah, and you start fighting at, top level, say even British level, yeah, everything becomes a lot more single, yeah. We throw the 1-2 on the pad, beautiful, looks great and all that. Get in a ring and try and spar someone and throw a 1-2 and hit them with it. Not many people with 2 punches, not alone 25 punches. Do you know what I mean? 4 behind your back and all that caper. You know, it just don't work. But, learning things like, teaching them things like holding, the dirty tricks of boxing, which I ain't going to mention half of them. But, it's very, but for me, sorry, to go back to Yarde Arthur last night, the most devastating thing for me last night was Bradley Skeet. Bradley Skeet was devastating. Boxed absolutely beautiful, absolutely frustrated the life out of Shiraz. Frustrated the life out of him. He weren't beating him 7 days a week and twice on a Sunday that night. Yeah, that was Bradley Skeet's night. When Bradley Skeet went over and his knees hit the ground, and he hit him not just once, he hit him twice, the referee should have disqualified him on the spot, right? You know what they done instead? Because he's 24 and Bradley Skeet's 34, now Bradley Skeet understands how I feel when I boxed Bradley Skeet and I beat him the first time. Yeah, they didn't give it to me because he was the prospect coming up. That's how boxing is. And that's where boxing has got to change, because the kid's put his heart back into it. Bradley Skeet was a top amateur. He'd done everything, he boxed hard as a pro. It weren't that kid's night last night, but they still give it to that kid last night. Bradley Skeet as a warrior got off that floor. Do you know what I would have done? I would have rolled around 20 times and I would have rolled out of the ring and I'd have been rolling out the copper box before I got out. You know what I mean? Because he could have got that kid disqualified. So the board must look back at that, and should he get an automatic rematch? I think the same thing will happen again with Bradley Skeet against him, because I think, but last night, Bradley Skeet should have won that fight and he should have moved on to another big fight, in my opinion.
Yeah, Steve Gray was the referee. I remember there's been a few fights now where kind of been a tiny bit controversial. I remember one of the fights quite recently. It was Lewis Ritson. Yeah, it was a Lewis Ritson fight. I think it was when they threw.
He nearly got him killed. He nearly got him killed. Killed his dad, threw the towel in, and he threw it back out. I mean, that's his dad. It's not even a coach; it's his dad. But I mean, you've seen 50 Shades of Grey, ain't you?
I haven't watched that actually. No.
No, but you're all right. You ain't seen it. But 50 Shades of Grey, I ain't seen it neither. But I'll just use that. But 50 Shades of Grey, and then we've got Steve Gray. So he's going to try and do 50 Shades of Boxing, in my opinion. Surely you get a license to. This is where we need VAR. We need VAR in boxing. The only fight it's ever been used in was Charlie Edwards for the WBC World Title fight. If it's been used and overturned in boxing, why don't they use it? Because that should have been used last night on that show. You know, in my opinion, that should have been used last night on that show. It's not fair, mate. It's someone's lifestyle. It's someone's put their whole, he's moved up to Sheffield. He's had 6 months up there in a training camp. I'm not taking nothing away from Shiraz. But for me, listen, Shiraz was in his fight was in the thing, and he's hit him on the ground. You don't know how his mind was thinking, but he don't even know whether he was on the ground. I'm not saying it's his fault, but it don't matter whether it's an accident or it's not an accident. Listen, if you kick the ball at someone and they handball it, it's going to be a penalty. You know what I mean? So rules are rules, mate. Rules are rules. There's too much bending in boxing. Not bend it like Beckham. Bend it in boxing, and that's why we're not getting the crowds through the door. There's too many boxer fans, not boxing fans. You understand what I'm saying by that? Go to the York Hall, stand outside the York Hall, and video everybody that comes out of the York Hall. You'll be lucky if there's 50 boxing fans there. They're all boxer fans. They're all there for one fighter.
But one of the reasons maybe might be so many boxer fans in boxing is I guess lots of boxers, they're fighting twice a year normally, or maybe 3 times a year. Maybe even as a prospect, you want to kind of be staying as active as possible. Say for your fighter, I know sometimes this is not the fighter's fault, but you'd want to be keeping your fighter as active as possible, wouldn't you? Especially at the start, if they're a prospect.
Yeah. It depends how you're going to do it, because if they're going to have good fights, learning fights. Listen, there's a thing called journeyman, Go back and look at the likes of Peter Buckley, Alv Mittu, I'll name a couple of names in there, Denton. There's a few fighters, that's how they was years ago. It's disrespectful to call a journeyman now compared to them, because they used to teach fighters, hold, mess around, use the elbows, show them all the tricks of the pro game. The problem is now, they're bringing them over. I'm not here to, put down other countries or whether they're bringing them from this country. From a car wash that they ain't even been on a pair of pads before, and they get blown away in one round. What is a fighter learning from that? What is a fight? And why people ain't going to shows because of this? Yes, tonight the whole of the red corner is going to win. Do you know what I mean? Oh, you know what? Credit where credit's due. Shout out Eddie Hearn. I mean, he's lost 6 world titles in 6 weeks, and he gets hammered for that. But in the next breath, if they kept winning them fights, they'd be going, hold up a minute. Ain't they fighting nobody? At least we're getting fights here. I mean, the biggest shock of it all was Galahad against Martinez. Yeah. But, he was unlucky there, because that was a 90-10 split, really, because no one thought that was going to happen.
Yes, that was a big shocker. And I know I was at York on Friday, and so were you. And do you think Galahad will fight Martinez again, or do you think he'll move up? Because then you got the Lopez as mandatory.
I mean, what we got to look at here, Fred, is this. If you're going to come on camera and you're going to talk about being great and all that, and we do this and we do that in our camp, I mean, he's probably got more staff on the team than Man United Football Club, right? I'm not joking. He's probably got more staff on the team than Man United Football Club. Conditioners, nutritionists, Uncle Albert, his dog, his cousin's cat, everyone on the team, right? But if you've got all these specialists on the team, how ain't they picked up that you can't make the weight properly? I'm not about having 65 people around me. I'm about me and me only, because I can't blame anyone else. I'm getting the blame if my fighter don't do it right. With nutrition and all that sort of stuff, you learn that when you're 10 years old in the gym. You learn how to eat properly in the gym at 10 years old. I've been on the scale since I've been 10 years old. I can't get on the scales now because I break them the size of me. But, I think a fighter knows how to eat. It's just whether he wants to dedicate himself and eat properly. But they bring all these nutritionists in and they do all this mad drinking water, 6 litres of water and all that. Listen, this is a hurt game, mate. And this is a dangerous game. You've got to do it right. You've got to do it right. My fighters are going to do it totally different to the way I've done it. I've done it the real British-Irish way of have a fight, go out for 3 weeks on a bender, and then get back in the gym. I will give a kid a few weeks off. I will let him go and do what he wants to do, but then he gets back in the gym. I'd go missing for months in between fights, you know what I mean? And then maybe get a phone call while I'm sitting in a pub and say, yeah, I'll have that on Thursday. I'll have that fight on Thursday. So, but it's not the way to do it. But I don't believe in these big, long careers neither. And, let's build this kid up and let him fight geezers with no hope for 3 years. What a waste of a career. What a waste of time in your life. I believe bring them along gradually, not baby steps, small steps, not baby steps. They're giving them baby steps, and then they're giving them a man step and getting them knocked out. That's why what happens in this country. That's why we always see fighters get exposed when they fight top Americans, and people go, "Yeah, I'm going to America. And I'm going to train with an American trainer." American trainers are no different to trainers here, mate. It's just that they bring their kids along better. You win a national title in America, you're fighting in 6 rounders straight away, and you're fighting against live opponents. Yeah, Mexicans, they are Mexican road sweepers, but they can fight. You know what I mean? The problem is here, we're fighting different sort of nationalities, yeah? And they're car wash people. They ain't come out of gyms. When I was in America sparring and I was training in America, mate, I was sparring Mexicans, mate. That should have been world champions. But they're journeymen. They're on the road. They can't sell tickets. We know it's a business. We know how it runs. I can't see what people see in Joshua saying he had an improvement after the Ruiz fight. I didn't think it was an improvement. I thought he was on the decline from then onwards. I don't think Pulev was a great win. You know what I mean? I'll see different to other people in boxing, but I'm definitely seeing the right way now. I know I am.
I mean, that's why Hamza goes and trains in the Tengus gym with Ricky in America, because he get all that kind of the sparring in America, which I asked him about actually. And it does sound really good. Anyway, Peter, I don't need too much of your time, but have you got anything coming up in the next few months? Anything on the radar and on the menu?
No, but I mean, I am going to Buckingham Palace, and I'm going to be knighted as Prediction Pete in boxing. No, not much. Just busy with Voice from the Corner of the channel, as you know. You're doing great things, Fred, getting some great people and content on the channel. We will do a weekly thing now if you want. I'll get my predictions on your channel as well, so gives your subscribers a little bit of if they want to have a little cheeky bet, make sure you bet responsibly, people. Paddy, Power, the people to go with. No, but not much. Just looking around the gyms, looking at fighters. Going to enjoy Christmas. It's my birthday on the 21st of December, so I turned 21 on the 21st of December. I'm a little bit like Benjamin Button. I go backwards. I don't go forwards in age.
What's on your birthday list?
No, just to have a good, for 2022 to be a year where I'll get back into boxing, I'll get my pro license, and get back to what I love, because I think I've fought it for 3 years. I fought it really hard, like in my own head, like I don't want to do this, don't want to do that. Invited to America by Tyson Fury to be part of the camp to Vegas, and I said, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do this. But I was just being arrogant to myself, really. I had arrogance to myself. I used to argue with my own self. And, I got to realise all the dark times, losing a brother, losing a sister, having a brain tumour. Mate, boxing helped me through all them dark times. And I love the sport of boxing. Yeah, the politics is different, but you just got to forget about the politics and get back to what I do properly. And, like I say, 2022, watch out. The Mac is back.
Awesome. Great speaking to you again, Peter. I'll put your channel link in the description, but we'll catch up soon then, hopefully before the end of the year. Thank you, Peter. Listen,
I'll speak to you obviously before Christmas, but I will speak to you. But If not, happy Christmas to all your subscribers. And I would like to say that's the top and bottom of it. Nice one.